right. Hello, hello, hello. How is everybody doing? Hopefully, you're doing well. My name is Tony Kimball. I am the host of Transforming Lives. And I welcome you tonight to our session. So, hopefully, your day was good. It was great. What I need you to do, if you're on right now, please do this for me. Uh, please share this. Share this with a friend. Share this with your cousin, your auntie, all those people. If you're planning to comment, what you have to do is you have to give StreamYard permission to do it. So if you're going to comment tonight, make sure you do so. So let me know who's on, where you're coming from, and things of that nature. So start this out. If you can put a transform in the comment box, transform in the comment box. Let me know who we have out there, and we will get started with tonight's session. All right. So in that comment box, man, type in there transform, transform, and we'll go ahead and get that started. When I see that first one pop in there, we're going to go ahead and get things rocking and rolling tonight. I'm excited about tonight. Tonight, I'll be solo tonight, but I'm excited about the next couple of guests that we got coming on. So you want to pay attention. They're going to bring some valuable stuff to our to the show. We're going to look at some information on relationships, right? Everybody loves relationships. And we're going to look and hear from another educator. And I have another surprise that's going to come soon. Cassandra, what's happening? Classmate, how you doing? Good to see you. Your brother showed out last week. All right. So I want to go ahead and jump into things tonight. When I thought about this particular session, the word that came to mind was progression. And when I thought about the word progression, I thought about a conversation that I had with a coach when I was coaching, and this coach was a very successful coach at the time, and eventually kept moving on. But in the conversation, what happened was I asked him about the team that I was coaching at that particular time. And I asked him, what did he think about our team and what are some ways that we need to improve? And the gentleman, without a smirk, without a cut of the eye, looked me straight in my face and said that he was concerned about his team. And that's the only one he's been focusing in on all week. Now, as a young defensive coordinator, you got to understand, the inside of me was like boiling. And it was like, okay, I know you did. What are you trying to do here, sir? You're trying to start something up before the game. But I didn't understand what he meant at the moment. And it took me a little while to gain that understanding of what he really meant. And, as we mature in whatever area that, we need to mature in, we begin to understand, facets of our lives. Well, for me, that clicked for me. And that thought was that one, progression is important and we shouldn't step outside of it. And we should stay the course and allow things to develop. Well, for me, I understood what he meant. We have to focus in on the right things. And if you don't focus in on the right things, what happens is your mind can be thrown off, your focus could be thrown off. And then what happens at that particular point, time is going to continuously go, but are you going to grow to the maximum ability that you have? One of the things I started to do was, as a defensive coordinator, what I started to do was I started to break down film differently. I started to look at and adjust my players differently at that particular point once I got that understanding of what he meant by it. You can't change something you have no control over. I had no control over the other team, but what I did have control over was the kids I was responsible for. And that changed how my preparation was for the next several years. So when you are looking at this word progression, you need to understand that it's a state of looking at it, advancing. A lot of times we want to advance faster than we are prepared for, or our skill set would allow us to. So tonight I want to talk real briefly about this whole word of progression. You know, when you're looking at progression, one of the first things you need to do to understand it is, number one, man, you need to set goals. That's like number one, to set a goal. You're saying, well, why am I setting a goal? If you don't set a mark, you can never measure where or how far you're going or how far you made it out. You can't. So setting goals, like number one, when you talk about progression, number one, you need to set goals. Because once you set the goal, that helps you to understand, okay, all right, I'm off the mark, or I'm not where I need to be at. So number one, you want to set your goals. Number two, you want to revisit and revise. Okay, once you set your goals, what you want to do is, you don't want to consistently, look back over your shoulder, but you want to revisit them. And the reason why you revisit them is to make sure that you're on the right path. That's why I revisit them. And then another thing is sometimes we may need to revise them. That's definitely important. We need to revise our plans. We need to revisit and revise. Those are important. Whether you are a coach, whether you are a teacher, doctor, whatever point in your life, you need to do those two things. You need to revisit and revise. Because if you don't, what begins to happen is you don't adequately assess where you are. A lot of times you don't assess where you were. So it's important that you do those two things. Number three, as you're looking and as you're going through the progression, and another thing it does is it helps you not to quit. Because again, you're going back to setting those goals and you're revisiting those goals, revising those goals. Now you're understanding where you're going with it. Number three, don't get lost in the non-essentials. Some things are just not essential to your life, and you can't get caught up in it. I was reading a book a while ago. It was about, I think, almost a year ago, concerning this whole idea of goals. And they used a term in the book. It was called whirlwinds. Whirlwinds are things that take you off the path of your goals. They may be small nuances that come, and you may not think, well, that's okay. It's not going. But what they do is they begin to build up, and before you know it, this whirlwind begins to happen. And before you know it, this whirlwind is taking you away from what your essential goal is. And I classify that as some things are non-essential. Now, this does not mean that you go and not attend to the things that are important in your life. But I do think one thing that's important is you need to make a decision on what things are non-essential. That's going to be important, because once you know that they're non-essential, does not mean that you don't attend to them, but you don't need to put a whole bunch of your time into those things. So as you're looking at this whole idea of progression, I'm looking at this this picture that I saw on social media, and I actually posted it on my IG account, and I think it's worth sharing with you. And I'm gonna pause and I'm gonna share this so that everybody can see this. I saw this picture maybe 2 weeks ago, I think. And when I looked at this picture, it spoke to me in so many different ways. Many times we know that a tree should go up vertically. We know that base of the tree should come from that ground and it should go up vertically, should grow up vertically. But this one is different. In most cases, we know that when trees fall, typically they die because they're usually their roots have come out of the ground and they no longer have the way of getting nutrients. But the thing I like about this particular tree is that it did fail, it did fall, but it was enough in there to keep pushing. It didn't stay at the particular state that it was in. It went through this whole idea of progression. It continued to advance. It continued to grow. It didn't grow like everybody else grew. And I think that's sometimes what takes us away because we compare a lot. You know, one of the things I said to myself in starting Transforming Lives on Facebook Live, I said, you know, one thing I'm not going to do, I'm not going to compare this to what anybody else is doing. And here's the reason why. When you begin to compare, what you do is you now take away the value of what you have, because then you put more energy into what something else is. And guess what? That's not yours. So this tree right here paints a picture that is, in my opinion, superb. Because number one, it kept growing. It did not make excuses. And then it continued to produce the necessary things to let you know, hey, I'm a tree. One side of it didn't make it, but the other sides did. And that tree, of course, you see the leaves and the branches. And if you look in the background, you can see that that tree does not look like everybody else's. And I think that's an important thing for you to understand. You may not look like everybody else's, but you look like you. And that's what's important, because somebody's looking for what you're going to bring to the table. And a lot of times it's not just about you, but it's about how you can impact those that are around you. And my last point right here is to be patient. Transformation doesn't happen overnight. If you actually look at the many different facets of transformation, you understand, I think one of the prerequisites is to be patient and allow time to happen and not get lost in those things which are not essential. So, quick recap. When we're talking about this word progression, understand that number one, you need to set a goal. Once you set that goal, establish that goal, next thing you want to do is revisit and revise. I want to revisit to make sure that I'm still focused on the actual goal that I'm going after. Then also I can look at, do I need to do any revision? Number three, don't get lost in the non-essentials. Non-essentials can and will take your focus off of where you're going. And then the last one, guys, is going to be patient. It's important that you're patient as you go through your process, because everybody's transformation does not look the same. So, guys, those four things I think are important. And whatever stage you may find yourself in, you may be at a stage of setting goals. You may be at the revision stage. Maybe at the point you need to revise something. You may be at the point where you need to refocus, or you may be at a point where saying, look, I'm transforming. I just need a little patience. Whatever state you find yourself in, continue to move forward. Here's what I need you to do. If you haven't had the opportunity, go to Transforming Lives 2020. Go like the page. Share the page with your friends. What this is going to do is going to help spread this word of transformation. Also, if you're on YouTube, go and hit the subscribe button. We're on every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. Central Time. Check us out. Leave us some feedback. Let us know. Maybe it's a topic you want to hear in the near future. Drop that in the comment box for us. If you're looking at this as a replay, let us know. Maybe a topic you want to hear, and definitely will share the information out. Or maybe you know someone that you say, hey, Tony, get this person in on Transforming Lives. Let me know. I want genuine people, because genuine people bringing their story to the table helps people transform their lives. It's been an awesome night. I'll see you next week as we have another special guest that will be sharing their awesome story. Guys, have a nice night. See you next week. Peace.